Welcome to the next chapter in Alfred's journey. Previously, we saw how a young Alfred raced to become a duke in a country ravaged by war. Alfred tried with what he had to fight the Vikings and led a somewhat unsuccessful campaign against the Sons of Ragnar. He later managed to expand his rule over to the western county of Devon. Alfred also fathered two sons, Aethelred and Bortolomeus. All of these in the span of just around 3 years. Now, let us continue our journey with Alfred. Crushing the peasant revolt and taking over Devon, while defending the realm against the Viking raids. All this have finally earned Alfred the respect of his masses. His greatness will not only be recognized by the common folks, but soon even the nobility will bow before him. Starting with East Anglia, Alfred's bishop was finally able to fabricate Alfred's claim on East Anglia, giving him the legitimacy of conquering all of East Anglia. Alfred was disgusted by petty King Edmund of East Anglia. In Alfred's eyes, he was not fit to be a ruler. A weak man who cannot even defend his own realm against mere raiders cannot be an equal of Alfred. He must hand over East Anglia to him by peace or war. Alfred's forces marches once again. At least Cornwall stood and fought, but this coward has left his capital at the sight of Alfred's army. While Alfred takes command of the siege, King Edmund has laid siege on the other end of the map, at Devon. Alfred splits his army, and instead of trusting one of his veteran commanders, he gives the command to a newly appointed knight. The knight was no other than the former rebel leader. It was time he proved his worth to Alfred. Soon his armies caught up with the forces of Edmund. And just as Alfred would have dreamt, Edmund's brother was captured in the battle. At least his brother stood and fought, unlike Edmund. With a quick end to the war, East Anglia was subjugated and Edmund was brought to his rightful place under his liege, Alfred. Alfred's glory echoed through the realm, spreading all over, just like the borders of Wessex. With the conquest of East Anglia, Alfred's dreams got even bigger. One day, all of the kingdom of England will be his. The problem though is, to form the kingdom of England, Alfred needs 2 more counties within the rightful domain of England. Cornwall, he shall have it today or tomorrow, but the other county that he must take lies within the borders of Jorvik, the land ruled by none other than Halfdan son. It seemed like sweet destiny after all. Alfred must subdue his greatest nemesis before glory could come to him. But there is much preparation to be done before Alfred can think of launching an offensive. Finally, after years of labor, Alfred has fully learned the language of Pope Nicholas. The bridge of friendship has been laid, and with it comes divine gold. Gold which is to be used to build more farms throughout the realm. Good fortune brings more gold for the development of the realm. None shall sleep hungry under Alfred's rule. With prosperity and growth ascertained, Alfred now looks at reorganizing his armies. Light footmen? They will be of no use against Viking shields. Only axes can break those Viking shields. Large regiments of strong housecarls were raised. With farmlands being built and armies getting recruited, Alfred soon found his coffers to be empty again. He needed more of the divine gold from the papacy. It occurred to Alfred the fastest way to gaining piety for the same would be to go on a pilgrimage. Alfred hurried to his dungeon, ransomed his prisoners to gather all the coins he needed for his pilgrimage. And then he embarked on the holy journey. Upon his return, Alfred had enough piety that none could challenge his claim to that divine gold. As time flew, Alfred was getting desperate to launch an attack on Halfdan. Though Halfdan's own forces were now at par with Alfred, but his alliances were far more greater than Alfred's. Alfred could do nothing for now but to wait and prepare. Finally, the claim fabrication on Cornwall was done. But Alfred must wait for the truce to end, while his bishop was sent to fabricate one more claim, this time in Jorvik, to ascertain his rise to the Kingdom of England. As time passed, more gold came in Alfred's way, and prosperity in the land followed. Finally, Alfred learned all that he needed to learn about stewardship. With the impending battle with the Vikings, he turned his focus towards a martial lifestyle, keeping the leges aside and picking up his sword. Soon his studies of ancient tactics started to yield result, and now it was time to put them into practice. Cornwall will fall once and for all. Even before Domnar's allies could come to their rescue, petty King Domnar was captured in the Battle of Cornwall. And with that victory in the battlefield, another news comes in from home. A daughter was born to Alfred. And so Domnar bows before his new lord. All of southern Britannia now belongs to Alfred. Alfred's forces were growing with each passing day. Evading raiders proved to be a nice drill for his new troops. Alfred grins as he sees his housecarls cutting down the Viking bounties like grass. And now for the final piece, before Alfred was to make a move for Jorvik. Alliance. His oldest son, Aethelred, is to marry the King of Bavaria's young sister. A worthy match and an unworthy alliance. Jarl Halfdan, here I come. Alfred raced as he raised his massive army. But before he left for battle, a beautiful face stole his gaze. A daughter? A daughter was born to Alfred and his wife. A good omen indeed, and this time around, he would be needing it more than any time in the past, for Halfdan waited for him in the battlefield. Alfred kissed little Cecilia's forehead, hoping they both bring good luck to each other. Rally the forces. Call upon the allies. Bring in the mercenaries. Alfred was taking no chance, not after what had happened a decade ago. For 10 years Alfred had waited for this day. Now Halfdan stood alone and weak, with a force of mere 3,000. As he waited for Alfred, while Alfred marched on with his combined army of 10,000. An odd not even the great Ragnar's son can fear against. Halfdan was no fool to challenge such a large army. He tracked back into the wooden hills, while Alfred's forces laid siege in Jorvik. Halfdan waited patiently as his allies came from across the seas. Once he grouped with his allies, Halfdan descended from the hills. Sensing the approach of Halfdan, Alfred ordered all his forces to regroup. And thus began the second battle of Jorvik. Alfred was no more the young Jarl that Halfdan had faced so many years ago, but now he was a powerful ruler with powerful allies. If there was but any doubt about the outcome of the battle, it all but vanished upon the arrival of Alfred's Bavarian allies. Halfdan was finally defeated. As Halfdan's remaining forces scattered back into woods, Alfred and his forces resumed their attack on the cities of Jorvik. One by one, every city under Halfdan's rule fell, but the great Halfdan was nowhere to be seen. Alfred had guessed another offensive by Halfdan, and so it did happen. During the siege of Bolton, Halfdan re-emerged. He ambushed the attacking forces of Alfred, but Alfred was quick to order all his armies to rush towards Bolton. And with that defeat, Halfdan finally relinquished the earldom of West Riding. Alfred had now got the victory he so desperately and patiently wanted and waited for. As Alfred celebrated his victory over Halfdan, he remembered little Cecilia's face. She indeed was a good omen for him. With the county of West Riding secured, and with the blessing from the papacy, Alfred was ready to crown himself the one true king of England. So that is the end of another chapter in Alfred's journey. Alfred finally taking upon Halfdan, not only defeating and snatching away land from him, but also to rise from Duke of Wessex to the King of England. Please do leave a like if you're liking the content. Hoping to bring another part of Alfred's journey to you all shortly. Please do consider subscribing to the channel so that you do not miss any upcoming content and support the channel too. Thank you and stay safe.